Sunday, September 7th, I sent out multiple stupid tweets thinking that we were going to railroad Vanderbilt this weekend. We are, Pat, we've been doing this since 2019. It's probably happened at least 3 or 4 times with football where you and I are getting on here and it feels like you're having it's one of those everybody knows that you embarrassed yourself moments. And this is one of those moments. And I can always tell it's one of those moments because people who live in New Jersey or California or Colorado who probably really don't care about college football text me, and I wake up in the morning getting my Tots hangover off, and they're all saying, "Saw the score, damn." Saw the score, Vanderbilt, damn.
Every year for the past almost 15 years, that has happened. It's crazy. We're gonna try to keep this light.
Yeah,
we're gonna be a little upset. I think maybe we're gonna be pretty upset.
Yeah,
we're gonna keep this fact based. We're gonna try to keep emotions out of this conversation.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that. I don't know if I'll be able to do that. I think as a good precursor, let's do a couple of things. First of all, we're the Sons of Saturday. Congratulations to Vanderbilt. They won 44-20. They absolutely kicked our ass. Couple precursors. Gonna try to keep it fact-based. Obviously, talking about somebody's job or somebody's livelihood is a bummer, but point blank period, this was an unlosable game. It was an unlosable game coming into it, and it wasn't even like we lost by 3. We actually got completely railroaded for the entire second half of it in embarrassing fashion. It looks like we quit. I would go as far as to say we did quit, and I don't throw the Q word around. And it is the most dejected and empty and awful feeling I personally have had in Lane Stadium. Dare I say, as in my life, I have never felt that way in Lane Stadium. So that's where I am right now.
As a peddler of the no fall weddings narrative for obvious reasons, I have never been happier in my entire life to not be in Lane Stadium and having to go to a fall wedding. No one really wants to be in Lane Stadium watching a funeral, and that's what last night was. And unfortunately, there have been several funerals over the past decade. Duke 2019 was a massive funeral. Miami 2014, that was a massive funeral. This, as you can see by the graveyard behind me, quite dramatic, but this was the death of our football program yet again. And honestly, the timing could not be worse with everything with conference realignment and just Virginia Tech needing to be an asset at this time and not a liability. And unfortunately, you go in there, you take a 20-10 halftime lead, your best half of football in a long time. You can actually move the football, score every single time you touch the ball. Great. Like the team was scoring points.
Yeah.
And you give Vanderbilt a glimmer of hope at the beginning of the second half. They go 5 touchdowns in a row, 5 possessions in a row. Outscore us 34-0 in the second half. It was truly the gut punch of gut punches from a program that should have no business beating Virginia Tech. And unfortunately, let's just dive into the reality of the situation. Virginia Tech has no business beating a school like Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that.
Lost to Vanderbilt 2 times in 2 years. Virginia Tech lost to Rutgers 2 times in 2 years. Virginia Tech is winless against Duke since Coach Pry took over. Virginia Tech went on the road and lost to ODU and Marshall under Brent Pry's watch. This team, this program is a joke. It is so over. It is the Brent Pry era is so over. This was your opportunity. You've had, and it's funny because this was your opportunity. We've given you like 16 other opportunities that you lost.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Yeah. This was your last one. It's over.
Yeah. It's funny, right? Because that point rings so true. There have been so many moments where there would be like little slices of like 2.5%, 5%, 7.5% of the fan base that labeled the game the "it's over, I'm out" game. And I feel like the overwhelming majority, I feel like for I don't want to throw it, just put a number out there, but I feel like over 50% of the fan base, it was this weekend. And we'll probably have a bigger like Virginia Tech picture conversation later down the road. You're totally right. Virginia Tech, who we've been for the last 10 years, totally deserves to lose to Vanderbilt. Totally deserves to lose to Vanderbilt. Totally deserves to lose to these
people. We're just lucky that people show up, but we are not there. We are not up to Vanderbilt.
And yeah, let's try to we'll try to get this a little organized. Here. If you are not a Virginia Tech fan and you're just tuning in, we're really just not. We're pretty positive people, but it is so over is the best way to put it in. Just some super high level stuff here. We'll get to stats in a little bit. You want to start with some Hokie haikus?
Our guy Bish says, Hokie fans always passionate, unrewarded. We are all we have.
And that is so true, because let me just tell you, I was at the game yesterday, unfortunately, and the crowd was unbelievable for 2 quarters and a drive of football. It really was. Students stayed through halftime. And it's frustrating because you hear it all the time, every time we lose, but it is so true. Like no fan base supports a mediocre to, I would call it below mediocre product the way that Virginia Tech does. It's almost so awesome that it's embarrassing how much we support the program as a fan base. Just to continuously get kicked in the nuts over and over and over and over again. And you're not just getting kicked in the nuts in the big moments, which was one of the things that you could say, well, Frank Beamer, he didn't always win the big one or lost the big one more times than he didn't. We lose the big ones and the medium ones and the small ones now, but the fans always show up. So that's kind of what it's been. Some other haikus here from Mr. Jones and me. Another chance missed. We are who we feared we'd be. Damn. Same damn song and dance. Yeah, that is accurate. We have a ton of awesome haikus. Thank you for writing them in. It's actually amazing. We've been begging you to write haikus all year, and then we lose, and you guys are like, here are 50 haikus. So we're going to read a lot more of them at the end. And I did add this. Pete McGee didn't put this in haiku form, but he just wrote it out. This is exactly what couldn't happen. Maybe, big maybe. Fan optimism sticks with a close loss yesterday. But to get tied to a wagon and dragged around your own stadium for a whole half in year 4, I feel numb. I'm certain thousands of others do too. Saturdays aren't the same. Man, that was the common consensus for everybody. Pat, when we walked out of the Vanderbilt game a year ago, it was more like anger, like people shouting into their hands or like punching air because like you're so angry. Yesterday was like what I have to imagine a bunch of cows that know they're about to go get their head cut off and turned into a hamburger. That is what it was like walking out of Lane Stadium. Like everybody was just like, well, this again, season's over. I heard a lot of like 57 days until basketball season yesterday, which was pretty funny. It's just, where does this rank for you in terms of like most, like, where does this loss rank for you?
I mean, it's hard without following like the 48-hour rule, and I can't rank it now against anything in the past until we see how the rest of the year unfolds.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Pretty bad, Billy Ray. Pete McGee said, "I feel numb." And when he said that, I thought, and I read to myself, "I feel dumb."
Yeah.
And I think a lot of our fan base feels foolish.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think any of us were out here pumping up this staff. Like, I think he's definitely gotten way too much leeway with the good guy, Virginia Tech guy stuff that much too much of our fan base just bought into without understanding that there were no results behind him being a social being.
Yeah.
And having experience on a Coach Beamer staff does not guarantee success.
Mm-hmm.
And saying blue jeans and sweatshirts, that's what Virginia Tech is. Yeah, people buy into that. But if there's no results on the other side of that, then you are what you are. And that's a 2-time loser to Vanderbilt and Duke and Rutgers and the laughingstock, not only the ACC, but college football as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like our program has been fooled.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we all were made believers because this is, a guy who seems to be one of us is just like, dude, if you can't coach football, you can't coach football, and you shouldn't be our football coach.
Yeah, it's really that simple. It truly is that simple. It truly is that simple. And the results have we're going to get into this in a minute. We're really not going to talk a lot about the game because I just quite frankly don't want to. I'll give you some high level stuff here. We'll start with the game day. Game day was great. Had an awesome time. The tailgating was fantastic. The fans were great. Fan base. I was at the German club, which was a ton of fun. I was over in lot 2. Spent a lot of time with the wing fields. My guy Chase, his parents, which was great. Was in lot 3 with Mayhul and that entire crew. And then I stopped in lot 1 at the candy shop. I also saw Hamid. Had a couple number 13s, which was great. Absolutely loved that. And then finished up at lot 11 with the Barlows. That was fun.
Was it an awesome game day?
It really was. I mean, the weather was fantastic. The only thing that I did notice is like the lots weren't as busy as I would expect. So I was pretty shocked. Like the corners were full. Like it was a sellout. A lot of people were like, hey, is this a sellout? It was a sellout. It was extremely loud. Flyover with 2, I think F-16s or F-18s. That was really cool. Yeah, I mean, you really couldn't have asked for any more aside from, winning the damn football game. But we've been saying that for decades, Pat. Like we have been saying that for a long time. Kirk Herbstreit actually kicked off this day in the most perfect way possible on College Game Day. He said, I don't have the quote in front of me, but he said something along the lines of, Virginia Tech the highlight has been the entrance for quite some time, and that needs to change. And that is absolutely true. And we're approaching the time, Pat, where I actually think we're at this point. I think yesterday is the time it happens because Ty Hildebrandt said it. He was like, I like Virginia Tech. I go to bat for Virginia Tech. If they lose this weekend, I'm out. I am out. And I think that speaks to our fan base. And I also think that speaks to college football media. Because for a couple of years there, especially after the Duke game, people were like, man, Virginia Tech has great fans. Like they truly deserve better. It's really kind of a sad story. We are about to enter the realm of where people don't even go off on tangents on it. It'll be like a minute feature on like when people are going around all of the scores. Like you'll listen to like an On3 podcast like Virginia Tech lost a close one to NC State. Next game, UVA beat North Carolina. Like that's what we're about to become. It went from these guys are awesome. They're still awesome, but they deserve better and their team's not good. Oh my God, our expectations were low, but holy crap, you're awful. And now they're not going to talk about us anymore.
But at least Metallica shows up in the offseason to kind of get everyone to forget about how mid we are as a football program. Kirk Herbstreit, when they were on the Jet, game day was on the Jet. That was 6 years ago when Kirk Herbstreit was talking about the Duke game. They're so bad, or it's so bad. That was 6 years ago, and here we are having the same conversation. I feel like Brian Kelly on the
here
podium.
we are again. Some other notes from game day. I already talked about the crowd. Let me just say this. This is going to piss some people off. I love Diego Pavia. Everything about him. He single-handedly has changed the culture of a program that has been a bottom dweller for the entire existence of the program. Enter Sandman starts to play, or before Enter Sandman starts to play, they're doing the Let's Go Hokies. And this buzz cut psychopath runs out of Vanderbilt's locker room before any other player. Vanderbilt's still sitting in the tunnel. He is sprinting down the sideline, helmet off, jumping up and down and just shaking his head yes at everybody. Like literally like, yes, I am about to F on all of you. And I literally I was standing there and vocalized. I was like, I love that guy. But do you know why I love that guy? Because we haven't had a guy like that on our team in 10 years. A guy who goes out there and says, I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to galvanize my team. And I'm going to let you know about it. And that is what Virginia Tech had been for so long. The Corey Moores, the Wyatt Tellers, the Marcus Vicks, the go down the line of how many amazing players there were that wore their heart on their sleeve.
I love how Marcus is getting some juice in the pot.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking of he lets you know about it. And know what's crazy? Another question I had for you is who is a bigger villain or who has had more of an impact in a negative way on Virginia Tech athletics than Diego Pavia, especially when you consider it's 2 years. This guy could have gone to any school in America, and he goes with, you guessed it, Jerry Kill to Vanderbilt. And in year one, nobody's heard of this guy. They're like, oh, that's that guy who beat Auburn. Yeah, he's pretty good. Nope. Derails the ridiculous, looking at it in hindsight, playoff hype that Virginia Tech has. So he ruins that season and essentially puts everybody on wake-up mode. And I think yesterday he ended this tenure. It's not going to be today. It's not going to be next week. But for all intents and purposes, this is over. There's no coming back from this. There just isn't. It is an unforgivable sin. And I hate that that's the fact, but that's where we are. So to ask you the question, is there a greater villain? I cannot think of one who's had more impact on a program in a negative way than Diego Pavia. He's not even in our conference.
I don't know what happened between week 1 and week 2, because I feel like more happened between half 1 and half 2 than between week 1 and week 2. We come out there and we punch them in the mouth in the first half. I don't know what happened at halftime. Did Theo Vaughn come into the locker room and it was just like a comedy skit, or they Theo sat down with Coach Pry and they did a little podcast during halftime? Theo Vaughn was at the football game, by the way.
He was.
Which was kind of cool and interesting to see him in Lane Stadium. What happened in that locker room?
Yeah. It's weird because in the press conference, I'll tell you what, the media was not playing around. I've been a little tough on our media before for some softballs. They're very softball-y interviews, and they have been for a while. And to Coach's credit, he's played the hits and has been jovial and good with the media. Now that's gotten old. Thanking the fan base has gotten old. Talking about how great the environment was has gotten old. Tim Thomas from the top rope, dude. He was like, you are on the hot seat. Ross Dellinger is saying you're on the hot seat, and there are some illegal books out there that have you as the first coach fired. What do you think about that? So that was crazy. I did not see that coming. But in that press conference, he was asked, he's like, what happened? And really the only tangible thing that was mentioned was our tackle got hurt on offense. I didn't know that our tackle gave up 5 touchdown drives in a row. It is so frustrating. And one more point, and this is already off the rails, and I guess it's just going to be off the rails. My dad calls me after the game, and he made a very good point. He goes, son, number one, you looked awful. Number two, he goes, under the Fuente regime and under the Beamer regime, when you guys started to get, kicked around by these teams, I would watch and I would say, wow, you guys are really small. You guys are really slow. You guys don't have the talent level that I thought you would have. And he said, I watched this game, didn't think that at all. Your receivers are big. Your quarterback looks the part. Your linebackers are big. And they just kicked you in the teeth. Like, they just absolutely took it to you for not 4 quarters, but for that whole entire second half. And that's, again, what's frustrating is if you want to mention a positive, Coach Pry absolutely has risen I would say the talent profile of this football team pretty significantly. Like, I will give him credit there. Our wide receivers look like Division I wide receivers. Our defensive line looks like a defensive line that you should see from a physical standpoint. It's just the team's not good. That's the problem. The team is not good. So, and that comes down to culture. That comes down to coaching. That comes down to chemistry. That comes down to all of that. And that is where this team is severely lacking and has been severely lacking for some time. Do we want to touch on the game here? I know you have some themes.
Let's talk about the game a little bit, and then we could run and kind of talk about what's next. It was a full-blown collapse after halftime. Outgained 307-21 in the second half. Vandy ran for 262 yards at over 7 yards per carry. Probably the worst half of football we have ever seen in our lifetimes in Lane Stadium at a 34-0 second half clip. Truly preposterous. And just another opportunity for us to get over that hump, turn the corner, and instead not only lose close. We didn't lose close. We thought we were going to lose close. Yep. And then we got blown away. Left no doubt that this era of football is over. And Tim Sands, Whit Babcock, Brent Pry have officially put out to pasture something that we love so sincerely and so dearly. And again, as a favorite at night, at home, Virginia Tech doesn't deliver.
Have you ever seen a football game at any level? Little league, college, professional. I have never seen a game where you're controlling the game in the first half and you're winning by double digits. And then it gets to the point where both backup quarterbacks are in the game. And the backup quarterback for Vanderbilt, who I mentioned in our pregame podcast, as we won't see him, but he has a cool name, Blaze Berlowitz, threw a touchdown pass. You are winning, and then the B team is in to end the game. That's crazy. That does not happen. That does not happen. And to your point, you mentioned the 21 yards on offense. David Hale had a great stat for this. Virginia Tech's 21 yards of offense is tied for the 7th worst second half yardage in the ACC in the last 20 years. 2006 Virginia Tech versus Boston College is that other game where we also had 21 yards. It's just the 4th time in 20 years and the first time since 2019 an ACC team has been outgained by 300 yards in the second half of a football game. Preposterous.
Really makes us look good when we're trying to get recruited to the SEC or to the Big Ten.
Can I say one thing on that notion? I will say this. This might be the only positive thing that I say. Virginia Tech, in my opinion, when it comes to conference realignment, is an asset. And the reason it's an asset is because of the fan base and because of Enter Sandman. That's how I feel about it. I feel like It's just such a shame that you have pissed away so much opportunity. I'm bullish on, I find it very difficult to believe that Virginia Tech will not exist in a world where 60 teams matter. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But yes, this is such an asset to this school. And this is why so many people come to the school. This is why so many people go back to town. This is why so many people prioritize having Virginia Tech or even knowing what Virginia Tech is if you live in Utah, California, Oregon, Ohio. The only reason people know what Virginia Tech is because of what once was a proud football program and no longer is. That is the truth. We were out and about in town last night, watching everybody head down to DP watching everybody head down to Tots. And Bryce, our analytical wizard, made the great point, something I would never think of. He goes, the town of Blacksburg lost millions of dollars in revenue tonight because there will be thousands of people who decide to do something else on their Saturdays because of this result.
Let's knock this out. Talk about the game a little bit. Offense, defense, turning point, stats. What you got?
Yeah. So as far as statistics are concerned, Vanderbilt 490 yards, Tech 248. We already went over rushing yards per play. Vandy almost 7, Tech 4. Third down, Vanderbilt 71%, Tech 43%. It's also crazy to think about this score was this lopsided when Virginia Tech won the turnover battle 2-1, and the lone turnover that Virginia Tech had was in garbage time where Pop Watson fumbled the football. So that's crazy. And you mentioned this as well on the resume. A loss to ODU, lost to Marshall, lost to Purdue, lost to Rutgers twice, lost to Vanderbilt twice. In all, in terms of this football game, the one thing that really sticks out to me is you can say what you want to say about Brent Pry, but what I always really admired was the football team never quit. We lost a lot of close games to talented teams and to not talented teams, but the team never let go of the rope. The team didn't let go of the rope in Miami. The team didn't let go of the rope against Syracuse. The team didn't let go of the rope against Vanderbilt when they came out and they punched us in the face in the first half last year. But this team quit. This team absolutely quit on Saturday, which is the biggest thing that is most frustrating to me, is to watch your football team quit. There's nothing worse than watching a football team quit. There's nothing worse than watching a football team quit on September 6th. The season started less than 2 weeks ago. And here we are. Here we are, a week removed from a South Carolina game where you were really impressed with the effort. Come out, play well against South Carolina team. Defense looks good. Offense got to figure it out. But then you come out and this is the effort. The play of the game for me, just under 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Virginia Tech faced a fourth down and essentially like 2 yards in Tech territory. I believe it was on the Tech 34 or 37. Tech decided to not go for it, punted the football back, and then Vanderbilt scores on their next, they score 27 points straight. And that's the football game. That is the football game. I also want to say, before we talk about offense and defense, I don't have a ton of blame for Phil Montgomery and Sam Sifkas. I truly I'm disappointed with what happened on both sides of the football, but I genuinely believe this is a culture issue is what happened, because this transcends Sam Sifkas and Montgomery. It transcends, even if you want to date it back to, Cornelson. This has been going on for a long time. It is something, Pete B uses the term, it's in the walls. It is in the walls of where we practice, we lift, we do everything. And I also want to say, I think Jared Ferguson made a huge difference. The team's more conditioned, the team's bigger. But that's just where we are today. Offensively, if you want to point to one positive, Aiden Green made a pretty amazing catch. That was also the same drive that we didn't go for it. That was probably the only positive from offense. I thought our wide receiver rotation was weird. Tucker Holloway got some run on a couple of drives, and I don't remember seeing him the rest of the game. He had a nice big play. The biggest play of his career, actually, on offense. Nice little catch and run when Drones was rolling out of the pocket, threw it across his body. Offensive line was abysmal. And I'll say this. I have defended Kairen Drones for a long time. And we've had the chance to talk to him, had the chance to meet his family. I think he's a great kid. I think he's a super talented kid. He was running for his life all night last night, but just looks defeated. And it really breaks my heart, man, because I think he's super talented, and I hate to see this, and I think it's totally fair. I'm curious what your thoughts are, but I think it's totally fair to put the question mark on the quarterback position too. And I don't know how much of that sits on his shoulders, how much of it sits on scheme, the changing of scheme, and everything else. But where we are right now, I don't feel good about basically any position on the football field except for kicker. I know that John Love gives us the best chance to compete in football games at the place kicking position. But other than that, I feel like it's open season on any position on this football team.
I thought we were going to get the Kairen Drones of old. The 2023 Pittsburgh Kairen Drones after his second touchdown of the night. Oh, we've scored some offensive touchdowns. This is great. We've got 2 in the first half.
He was lowering his shoulder. He was being a little chatty too. I was like, I know that guy. I've seen him before.
That totally vanished in the second half.
Yeah,
we were running him, and he was running very well in the first half, and we could not get it going in the second half. Went away from it, and then all of a sudden we're down. We have to throw the ball every other play. He's only completed 50% of his passes on the year. He, quite frankly, is just not a good passer of the football. That is the reality of Kairen Drones. And I wanted for it to work so bad. You wanted for it to work so bad. Everyone wanted this to be a success. And he just isn't it at the quarterback position. And it sucks because we thought having a healthy Kairen Drones could be a difference. No touch on the passes, underthrowing guys, overthrowing guys, just totally missing guys or making bad decisions. Not what you want a fifth-year quarterback, the leader of your football team, to be running you through. And it's just a huge bummer because also the amount of money that we spent on Kairen Drones, probably the biggest investment on this football team. That's also a huge condition of this as well, is that your biggest asset from an NIL standpoint likely is your starting quarterback. Could that have been used for another guy in the portal over the past offseason? And now we got 10 games left and feel zero confidence in who we have taking snaps for this football team. I love his upside. I really do. But unfortunately, that's it. That's what it is. It's upside. It's not where he is. It's something he hits every 3 or 4 games. He'll have a nice big run. He'll finally hit on a deep ball. But unfortunately, we are not where we need to be as far as having this guy lead our offense. It's not it. It's a huge bummer.
Defensively, we talked about the 5 touchdowns in a row. I'll actually just walk you through them. 11 plays, 75 yards, 7 plays for 75 yards, touchdown. This was to take the lead 24-20. Pat, if you were in the building, and for those of you that were in the building, we've had this moment before. Some of the times that I can recall getting this feeling were when Notre Dame got the football back in 2021, when Syracuse got the football back in 2021. The one time where it worked out for us was after Boston College pulled within 1 score last year, which is still preposterous to look back at. But as soon as they scored that second touchdown in the second half and took the lead, multiple people in section 129 were like, oh, we're totally losing this game. Totally losing this game. There was no oh, we're in a shootout. Let's go. Time to go score on offense. There was none of that. But everybody was wrong because when they said we're totally losing this game, they probably thought we were going to lose the game 24-20 or lose the game 28-32 or something like that. Not so fast, my friend. We actually won't score, and they will score 3 more times. They then proceeded to go 8 plays, 56 yards, 3 plays, 72 yards, and then 7 plays, 31 yards. Just a nosebleed on defense and a broken nose on offense.
The play that really just did it for me, I believe we were still up 20-17. And it was funny. They get the ball back and then they get that first down. When we are still winning the football game, 20-17, I got like 4 or 5 texts. Oh, we're going to lose. We're going to lose this football game. Like, this is where the boulder starts rolling down the hill.
Yeah.
And we can't run fast enough. And it's going to end very poorly. And unfortunately, one of the guys on our team who tried to push the boulder onto our own players, running with this analogy, Ben Bell, dude, number 33 on the edge. Where did you leave your brain in the locker room? Dude, God. I mean, first of all, I see a 33 lining up on the edge, and I'm like, dude,
who is that?
Is Chris Drager back on the team? Like, let's go. Chris Drager back in the end. Ben Bell roughs Diego Pavia like 3 Mississippis after the ball is out, and like the play's been over. Like, they're already lining up for the next play. Ben Bell goes in and decides to, give a little love tap to Diego Pavia. Also,
he also was shocked he got flagged, which was hilarious too.
If you're gonna hit a quarterback, you think Diego Pavia is gonna be rattled from that, of all guys? Like, dude, put your ego aside. Just fired him up. And like, I hope Ben Bell is still running sprints right now, because, dude, that was like the epitome of the beginning of the end for this football game and for this football program. Just really, really tough.
Can I just, I know this is a microcosm, and I'm not putting all of what I'm saying on Ben Bell, but Ben Bell, this play epitomizes the lack of accountability that has existed in this program from the top down. The lack of accountability. I was pretty understanding about the Caleb Woodson situation, because you have to put your best foot forward and you have to try to win this game. But there just has not been a ton of accountability on, oh, this player fumbled, they should sit. This player did this, they should sit. This player did this, they should take some accountability for it. It's just a very small thing that we have not done. And this is what you get in these type of situations, is undisciplined, unsmart. That was not very hard, smart, tough, Pat. It was actually soft, dumb, and weak. And we have seen those 3 adjectives for far too many football games. And yeah, it was one of those moments where the boulder just gets on rolling. And again, like the shot over to, it's like comedic. It's the shot over to 33, and he's shocked he got flagged. And then it's the shot over to coach, and we're writing on the clipboard. We haven't heard about the clipboard in a while, but the clipboard was back for this football game. And damn, was that not embarrassing? Special teams, Vanderbilt's punter did not log a single snap in this football game. Sam Jesse tells me it's the first time in modern football history that Virginia Tech faced an opponent who did not punt once. That's crazy. Did not punt the ball one time. I'll also say this. I mentioned that Virginia Tech didn't turn the ball over. Virginia Tech also was the beneficiary of a ton of Vanderbilt penalties. Vanderbilt put themselves into awful positions with really stupid, bad penalties. One of our touchdowns, if I'm remembering it correctly, the one that we ran in, we had to get an extra down because of a holding or a late hit or some sort of penalty that came from Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt also had, I think they had 3 or 4 illegal man down field penalties. Like, Vanderbilt by no way played a clean football game. They just kicked our ass. And man, like, unbelievable. John Love, 2 for 2. Shout out. Love John Love. And we did not. You were saying, I hope that we will love the result. We did not.
We will love watching the first half again.
Will not love. Will, middle name, not love. The presser. This is the most defeated I've seen Coach Pry. Again, I take no solace or like excitement on talking about any of this. He looked defeated. And as much as we know how important this game was and how much we fell short, so does he. And there's nothing really anybody can do about it. I do think that it's kind of fun. I get both sides, man. Like, he was asked directly, he's like, is the season over? And he said something along the lines of, there's a lot of season left. I don't know what else you want him to say. I actually do. I wish we skipped the question. I wish we just hit like a next question. That would have been better. Like, it's a no-win situation. We almost need to just stop doing the pressers. Just got to stop doing them. It's the same song. It's the same dance. What did you say? You quoted one of the players because they said we're not living up to the Virginia Tech standard. Brother, we have not lived up to the Virginia Tech standard for almost 15 years. We haven't lived up to the Virginia Tech standard. And again, that's not a shot at the kid. That's just as a fan who has existed through multiple coaches in multiple situations like this, you just get tired of hearing it. There are some times where like a quote like that means something and it's galvanizing. And you're like, I love that somebody finally stood up and said it. We've been saying it for years. We've been saying it for years and nothing has changed.
Yeah, I'm looking at the timeline now. It is funny. Like, I'm sure you did the same thing. I know you're at Tots, so probably not. But
I did not.
Like the doom, they call it doom scrolling. That's what the Gen Zs call it. The doom scrolling that happens after a loss like this, especially loss number 1. This is loss number 2, so double that. The amount of like coping that takes place on just like finding good tweets and like bookmarking them and be like, all right, I need to reference that on the pod. Like, that was great. Yeah. Like there was this one from the key play. He says, no one, absolutely no one. And then it's like nothing. And then 75-year-old Tech sideline poster. Hokies started 0-2 in 1995 and ended up in the Sugar Bowl.
Or they'll hit you with the 2009 or 2008, whatever year it was. It was funny. I was talking with my guy, Mike Russell. Mike Russell was a film guy when Tyrod was in school. And I woke up this morning, Bryce, like an absolute psychopath this morning. He had dog training at 9 o'clock in the morning. So they left at 6 a.m., which was just crazy. Like just wild, like on the road at 6:30 to get out of Blacksburg. And my guy, Mike, grabs a Diet Coke out of the fridge at 6 a.m., which was a crazy move, first of all. And I'm just like, in my hungover voice, I'm just like, that's one of the most demoralizing losses we've ever had. And he goes, brother, sips Diet Coke. He goes, we had an actual awesome football team that lost to JMU when I was in school. That was a demoralizing loss. This is a team that is not good. That lost to another team that's pretty good. So no, it's not one of my least favorite losses. But again, for me, it comes down to knowing how important this game was for this staff and honestly how big this game was for this program. And to come out and to perform that way is so disappointing. Also, the thing that's crazy, I was doing the doom scrolling while sitting at Tots while Gasolina is playing, and Sonny and Bryce multiple times like slapped the phone out of my hands. They're like, you need to stop. You have to stop. Like, separate yourself from this moment. I was like, okay, all right, I'll get another high noon. Just start jumping again. Jumping.
You want it to work out, Billy Ray. You know that there's probably like 3% of the listeners to this show right now are trying to tell us how Coach Beamer started, 2-8 in his 5th or 6th year at Virginia Tech and how it can still work out. Some other good content from Tally.
Oh,
Tally Bands 44, Jonathan Tally. He said, This is right before the fourth quarter. Everyone on TV is holding up the 4.
Oh no, dude! I remember watching that happen.
It says, "Put y'all fingers down. Y'all be sleep all third quarter."
What else is wild too, Pat, is when all of my friends that text me from New Jersey, I will hit them with a stat because they don't follow tech like that. And as I'm typing them out, I'm like, oh, I forgot about that one. I forgot that it will be another year that we will not beat an out-of-conference power opponent. It's another year, another notch on the belt. I also am not looking at the future schedule. I don't know when we will have another opportunity to play out-of-conference Power 4 opponent at home. We don't play one next year. We travel to Maryland in College Park, another vaunted, difficult out-of-conference opponent. So another chance to end this streak.
You mean when Coach Pry got on during the Pinstripe Bowl and said, we're going to be special on special teams, we're going to be a force on defense, and we're going to be prolific on offense? That Maryland program, and then deep ball, touchdown. Mike Loxley, it's not a formidable program, but we will have another opportunity to play a program that should be below what we are, unfortunately.
Yep.
The quote was from defensive tackle Emmanuel Hickman. Everybody needs to come in with the mentality that we're not living up to the Virginia Tech standard. Point blank, period, ... and we must get it fixed ASAP. And I said, unfortunately, this quote, we have seen this quote every single year from a different guy, from a different position group for well over a decade. And it's all been conversation and it's been zero action from the top all the way down.
Who said that? Who said that quote?
Emmanuel Hickman.
Yeah, so Emmanuel Hickman, I don't mean to quote Good Will Hunting, but I will. It's not your fault. It's not his fault. Like, he's just trying to get his guys ready to roll. But the Billy Rays, the Pats, the Janices, and the Pauls, and the Johns have heard this so many times. So many times. As Grayson says all the time, I've seen this movie before. As have I. As have I. I've heard this quote before. As have I.
Dude, I'm like, dude, you're just one player on this, 85-man roster or what have you. Meanwhile, like, no one from the top down, President Tim Sands, Whit Babcock, have done anything to move Virginia Tech forward in football since they got here in 2013, 2014. Zero. Mm-hmm. Charlie Steger would have a conniption over this if he was still here today. It is so embarrassing. It's such a bummer. And there are so many good people out there who just spend way too much time and way too much effort and energy to get this result again and again and again. And unfortunately, Emmanuel has to be the guy who has to say it. But, someone else will probably say it later this year or later next season too. It's just a cycle, and it is the definition of insanity.
Where do we go from here? Also, I'm curious. Let us know in the comments if I have never done a podcast like this before. And I'll say this too. Two things happened this morning. One, I had multiple people reach out to me and say, I'm really sorry that you have to talk about this. And I'm not trying to throw myself a pity party, but I will for a second. I feel for all the content creators out there, man. And I'm speaking about us, and I'm speaking about everybody else. A lot of effort that goes into it, man, to get in here, watch all the film, do everything. Like, it's a lot of effort, and that's why it hurts. And for the fans, it's a lot of effort to load up the car, get your kids, get the Airbnb, gas up the tank, buy the tickets. Like, that's where we are. And again, like, players are getting paid now. You see how much the coaches are getting paid now. You see how much this matters to school, and this is kind of where you end up. So when I get to the question of where do we go from here, Wofford and Old Dominion have chances to set all-time lows for attendance. The Old Dominion game, it's actually hilarious that game is at night. Virginia Tech is a 10-point favorite against in-state heated rivalry, ODU. If you don't think they want to come in here and kick our ass with their quarterback who can't throw but can run really fast, I mean, that's horrifying. I'm very interested to see how many people actually show up to that football game. A night game in Lane Stadium. It's crazy to think that we're even saying that. But I don't know how many people will be there. And I'll tell you how many people are going to be at Wofford. It's going to look like a UVA game. I'm just telling you right now, because when we played Wofford, was that in 2021, Pat? We played Wofford at 11?
First year of Coach Pry, 2022.
2022? Yeah, that's going to be an empty game. That is going to be a empty game. And
I don't know. That might be the bring your kids game. I feel like the Wofford game is the bring your kids game. There'll still be some families that show out. People who already bought their tickets and planned are going to be there. But if you want to compare it to your typical Virginia Tech Saturday, these next 2 Saturdays there will be a substantial difference.
That's true. That's true. And I'll say this too. I got a lot. You're also going to hear some booing. I'm just letting you know that now. I was very curious to see what the reception would be. Kairen Drones got a big crowd pop when they were doing the starting lineups. Even Coach Pry got some. I got fired up when Midnight Rider came on. I was like, let's go. Your moment right now. Seize it. Carpe diem. There was no carpe and there was no diem. It was carpe damn. And I'll say one more thing too, Pat. I got a lot of pushback on this, and I want to be careful with my words because I'm not encouraging people not to go to the game. That's not what I'm saying at all. But when the UVA game rolled around last year, I said, I'm very interested to see how many people show up to this game because I think people showing up to a game is a direct reflection of if you support or do not support the current direction of your program or support the band or support whatever. And Virginia Tech has been the opposite of that. People have not been happy with the result, but continue to show up and continue to be loud and continue to jump to enter Sandman. And I think for a lot of, I don't want to speak for the administration, but I wonder, are there administrative people who are like, you know what, we don't win a lot, but we're selling a lot of tickets. We don't win a lot, but we sure do get a lot of likes and retweets on all these videos of Enter Sandman. And I think the voting with your wallet and voting with your time. I texted Juliana this morning and I said, hey, I cover this team. I'm going to watch the games, but this fall, like whatever you want to do, I'm not going to drag you down there. Not going to force you to go down there. Not going to force you to come to Virginia Tech. Man, some people are going to clip that and I'm going to get in trouble. But I'm not going to force you to come to Virginia Tech this fall. If you want to mix in some pumpkin patches, some apple picking, I'll tell you what the big game of the week is, and I want to be in front of a TV screen for that one. But yeah, that's just kind of where I am, man. And it's sad. And I like to consider myself somebody who takes a really long time to get to that point, but that is absolutely where I am.
The reality of the situation is that Brent Pry is 16-23 overall at Virginia Tech, 6-11 before October 1st, 10-13 in the ACC, 1-12, maybe 1-13 in one-score games, 0-8 versus non-conference Power 4. 10-21 versus Power 4 overall.
Can you read that one again? Because I think that one is the craziest stat. That is an insane stat.
This is from, I think Joe Rogers put this out. Joe Rogers, 10-21 versus Power 4 overall. Old Dominion, Marshall, Purdue, Rutgers twice, Vanderbilt twice, Duke twice. Winning records only against Boston College and UVA out of teams that he has played multiple times. I mean, the biggest win under this tenure was like the Liberty game in year one. I think that's the only game that Tech has won as an underdog. Current recruiting class for 2026, 83rd nationally. That's right below Miami of Ohio and UVA, and right above the powerhouses of Georgia State and UConn.
What makes that statistic so crazy too, Pat, is I don't want to hear people clamoring poor. Every school has around the same pot of money to offer kids. And I'm not saying Virginia Tech needs to be top 20. They certainly don't need to be 83rd, regardless of what the situation is. And this was the selling point. This was the selling point. The selling point was He's a recruiter. He can recruit. He has elevated the floor of this team. I think that our depth has gotten better, but I would not consider us recruiting at even an on par level of where we wanted to recruit. And that's not just this year. That's kind of been the case. And a lot of our best players come from the portal, not from Virginia either. Our starting quarterback is from Texas. Our starting running back is from what? Southern Illinois State. Our wide receivers are from all over the place. Our defensive linemen, we have defensive linemen from Ohio. Like we talk about the footprint thing hasn't happened either. Has not happened. These are all things that we talked about as being the pillars of what is going to build us to where we want to be. And we have become none of those things.
My guy Clayton Tinsley, who I saw down in Atlanta, he texted the following, and I thought it was good, so I wanted to import it into the pod. He said, if there's anything that Coach Pry is writing down on his clipboard, it should be new chapters in his new memoir, 50 Ways to Lose. ODU road game, loss. Worst team in the Big Ten at home. Second worst team in the Big Ten on the road. Is that Purdue? Is that Rutgers? Doesn't matter. Both of them you're going to lose to in heartbreaking fashion. Marshall on the road. We all went nuts because they had the drone footage. They had cool drones. We're like, all right, we got a guy named Drones. They have cool drones to shoot video content. No, can't slow down Marshall. Can't score on Marshall. But then we just build all this momentum, and we try to shock the world. We got Louisville on the road, and we have an opportunity to win the Coastal and make the ACC championship in year 2. We're playing a meaningful November football game. Blown out. Don't get off the bus. Don't even get on the bus. 34-3.
That was tough. We were in Arizona for that. It was a fun weekend.
And then this we all buy the next few games, the UVA big win at home or on the road. I mean, after that Commonwealth Cup game, like everyone was so fired up. Then we go to the Military Bowl. We destroyed Tulane, which was only fielding, their 5th stringers. Snake oil, rat poison, preseason playoff team, talk. Lose game 1 to Vandy as 2 touchdown favorites in their place with over 80% of the people there wearing maroon. Nope. But no, surely we'll beat Rutgers at home. We'll collect some revenge and beat Rutgers at home. Nope, totally forget to show up to that game. Maybe we'll catch a break, though. Maybe we'll catch a break with a double-digit lead in Miami late in the game. And, Hail Mary. Nope. Sorry. Can't get a top 10 win. A few weeks later, cruise control up in the Carrier Dome. 21-3.
The curse is over.
A big win over Syracuse. We're finally going to reverse this awful luck that we've had up there in upstate New York with a second-string quarterback and our 3rd running back. What a story that would be.
Sleep with one eye open.
What a great win story. Actually, no. We are not going to win that game either. We're going to figure out how to lose that one. Duke. Surely we could beat Duke. They have a first-year head coach.
Pat's turning 30. It's birthday time, dude.
30th birthday. Got everyone together. Surely we could beat Duke. We have more talent than Duke. We have more vibes than Duke.
Vibes.
3-point loss. But at least, Billy Ray, we beat UVA every single time.
Thank God.
UVA. Thank God we beat UVA. At the end of the day, I mean, how many opportunities do you need to show us? And why do we need to give you any more opportunities to show us how you want to let us down again? And then there's Whit Babcock. Whit's been the AD since 2014. Football under Whit's watch. This is a devastating statistic. 74-68 in this generation's Atlantic Coast Conference.
You know what's wild is there's a chance that gets to 500 this year.
There's a chance, but probably not. I don't see us going 2-6 in conference, but there's a chance. 0 conference championships. 2 failed football coaching hires. The entire fan base asking why Whit has done anything to deserve another chance to hire another head coach after 2 failures. You don't get a chance to hire the third. We've talked about that on this show. He's got a $1.24 million salary annually through 2029 that's fully guaranteed. But I mean, I think there's zero doubt that the Whit Babcock era has to end. And I wish we could say immediately. I wish we could say immediately for Pry and Whit. I know that there's a lot that goes into these 2 positions. And Whit leading the athletic department, Coach Pry leading the football program. Like, unfortunately, we need better on both sides. Whit, Pry, Boleyn. I mean, talk about like just people who have been holding Virginia Tech back for several years now. Tim Sands, like, do we think Tim Sands has football in mind first as a front porch of the university? Athletics, do we think Tim Sands has football first? I have never seen anything from Tim Sands that leads me to believe that he has football at the forefront.
You know what's interesting is the front porch. I was talking to Griff this morning. By the way, very well done on that. I was talking to Griff this morning, and he said, Enter Sandman used to be like the sprinkles on a beautiful ice cream sundae. Like, but the ice cream, the chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, the banana, like that was Lunch Pail defense, special teams, beamer ball, grit, like tenacity, kick you in the mouth. Like that's what it was. And you said, it's funny, you said football is it the front porch of the university? The front porch of the university is Enter Sandman. That is what it is. It just so happens that Enter Sandman occurs at football games. That's and basketball and wrestling and women's basketball and baseball. But the one that everybody resonates with is football. And it's not the sprinkles anymore. It's the whole ice cream. And it's the cup. And it's the spoon. And it's the fudge. And it's the whipped cream. It's all of it.
So prize buyout right now is $5.825 million. Here's the thing, like, we have to be strategic with all this stuff. It's not going to happen this week. If it's going to happen, it's going to be after the season where the buyout goes down.
Oh, I disagree. I don't know if it'll be after the season. I would feel very confidently that it's not going to happen in September. But when like the 2 weeks that I'm looking at are the week before Louisville and the week before Cal. So basically right around those bye weeks. We can do this now because I had this as a note for later. There's a lot of like talking around like, well, you know, Virginia Tech's in this position. Like you can't really fire this coach because you fire the coach, you're asking the AD to make a hire. I don't know how all of that works. I'm just telling you that's not a good enough answer. Like that is not a good enough answer. If you go ahead and you lose this Old Dominion game, it has to happen after the football game. If you are a serious program, which we don't even know if we are, you don't come back from that. You're not coming back from this now, but you don't come back and have a team meeting on Monday or Sunday after losing to Old Dominion. You do not. So to me, when I see these like excuses of like, man, I don't know if it's actually it, like got the ACC schedule ahead of us, it's not good enough. That answer does not work. Something has to get figured out. Because again, when I say it's so over, I'm not using that as like a coping mechanism. I mean, there's no coming back from this. There isn't. We reached that point with Puente when you got to that Syracuse game, probably even before that. Maybe you could say it was the Notre Dame game or whatever, but the horses are in the barn, man. Like it's done. It's just a matter of when. So if I had to guess, those are the 2 weeks that I'm looking at.
Yeah, I think the worst thing, not the worst thing, but if Tech wins the next 4 or 5 games, so that's ODU, Wofford, NC State, who doesn't look very good, but they did win a game that they shouldn't have won at home on Saturday. Wake Forest,
who's awful.
Not good. You got Georgia Tech after that, somewhere mixed in before Cal. I mean, there is a world where Tech wins the next 4, and all of a sudden you have people clamoring that he keeps his job because we want to see the rest of the season and we haven't lost in the ACC yet. I just think timing kind of sucks on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, ultimately, like if you want to break this into short-term and long-term, short-term, something must change on offense. I don't know what that is. I really don't. I mean, actually, things need to change on all sides of the ball. Who are we kidding? The long-term play is you need to replace your athletic director. You need to replace your head coach and rebuild everything from the ground up.
Yeah, it's no longer a it's interesting because for the last couple of years it's been, oh well, Coach Beamer left this place in this program in a place it's not that anymore. We're so far removed from what that looks like, where I don't remember who I was talking about it with, but we're much closer. People are going to hate to hear this. We're much closer today to what Virginia Tech was in the early 80s when Virginia Tech was playing against and losing to on a regular basis the ECUs of the world than we are the Virginia Tech that was competing for BCS bowl bids on a consistent basis. Like it's not just who we've been because we lost to Vanderbilt. It's who we've been since we've lost to Old Dominion multiple times, lost to ECU multiple times. Cannot beat teams you are on par with or are slightly better than you. If we play a team that we are on par with or are slightly better than us, we lose those games every time. Every time. Do you have any other notes before we get into letters from the lunch pail? This sucked. I mean, that's an hour.
Should we get Mayhul on the pod in the next few weeks?
I would love to
have a Mayhul pod coming up here.
On that note, too, I do just want to say there are a lot of people who have put so much into this program to be successful. People who have donated, and it doesn't even have to do with money. There are people who are donating $10 a month. There are people who are donating tens of thousands of dollars a month or millions of dollars a year. And it bums me out for those people. There are some really hardworking people that work in the athletic department who, when you talk about a situation where we need to replace the athletic director, we need to replace the head coach, who it sucks to say that because they work super hard. Their lives are rooted in Blacksburg, and their lives are rooted in Blacksburg because of that. But this is the biggest economical driver associated with Virginia Tech. And when it fails to this level, that is what has to happen. And it sucks that we have arrived. Feels like we've definitively arrived in that area. So here's some letters from the lunch pail. At Red Sox Hokies, think Babcock's focus was find a nice guy that will stay as head coach at Virginia Tech. Somehow, Hokies would love.
Can I read this? You want me to read this?
Yes, please do. Yeah, I am struggling.
Peggy, Red Sox Hokie, says, I think Babcock's focus was find a nice guy that will stay as head coach at VT, someone Hokies would love. Didn't focus on finding a great head coach. Listened to the Serious College Sports on my way home. One of the first thing they said, Tech should go get USF's Alex Golesh. Thoughts? Alex Golesh is going to get himself a big boy football job very soon. Week 1, they go and destroy Boise State. Week 2, they go into the swamp and they go ahead and chomp the chomp. They beat Florida and they got Miami this week. How excited are you for the USF Miami game on Saturday night?
I mean, an unbelievable effort. Another coach who's in a really bad spot, Billy Napier. Let me say this, a couple of things. Number one, I had no idea we'd be talking about coaches on September 7th. Pretty unbelievable. Some names that I'll just throw out there. Number one is Joe Sloan. Joe Sloan is the offensive coordinator at LSU. He has Richmond ties. Really, really personable guy. Has done a really good job with that offense. Bryce has been on that bandwagon for a long time. He's a name I'll throw out. Defensive coordinator from Georgia is another name that I will throw out. But ultimately, the one piece I would encourage people to, or not encourage, I would just place as an example. The regime of Brent Pry reminds me a lot of Jeff Collins at Georgia Tech. And if you remember, Jeff Collins takes the job immediately. I coached here. I was a GA here. I love this program. I want this program to be good. I know what this program should look like when it's going to be good. Also, by the way, the last guy that was here didn't know what he was doing. He said that about Paul Johnson. A lot of people said that about Justin Fuente. And there were a lot of comments that came out of the athletic department around that. And here we are. The program has more resources. The program has resources that I wish Coach Beamer had to work with, and I wish Coach Fuente had to work with, but that's not what we're talking about. And the results are Jeff Collins. Those are the results. So there's a comparison.
I forgot how much grave dancing there was when Pry first got here.
Oh my goodness, dude.
Oh my God.
It was crazy. We go out.
It was brutal. That's so embarrassing. That's such an embarrassing look for Brent Pry.
What also was let's do this too. I don't want to say embarrassing because I love our fans and I don't want to say that it's embarrassing for them, but was it really that easy to think that we were just going to start winning again because we participated in a campus-wide snowball fight? Like that's what did it. Like we go out and we participate in the civilian student body snowball fight. And it's like, dude, we're so back. Like, come on, like gets it. We made the t-shirts. I'll own it.
That's embarrassing.
That's embarrassing for us.
Hand up. Who didn't buy in?
So
who didn't buy in?
And I think that just speaks to how desperate this fan base is to have something to have a hero. And you know what's unfair? You know what's unfair, but you know what is true? You know who's squarely put in the you need to be a hero spot is Mike Young. And you know who never complains? Mike Young. And you know who's getting it done on a small budget? Mike Young. 56 days till basketball is here. Ed texted me this morning. He said, basketball season. Hope you're ready for it. I am. Madison Brewer had a couple of different questions. Number one, is Brent Pry still the guy? If not, give us some good coaching candidates. We just did that. And I think, look,
can I say something about the coaching candidates?
For sure.
I know people like to talk about Gruden. I mean, would Gruden actually look at Virginia Tech? I feel like Virginia Tech is not to the league, not to the level of Super Bowl winning head coach.
So a couple things. Number one, I don't know how attractive John Gruden is as a candidate for a job at a big school. That's the first thing that I would say. I don't think that if Florida replaces their coach or Alabama replaces their coach, their call is going to be to John Gruden. Now, if a Kentucky replaced their coach or I don't want to say Northwestern. No, I'll put Northwestern there, or Maryland. If Illinois. They replace the coach, Illinois is not replacing their coach. They're ranked 11th in the country, and they just went 2-0. But that style of program, they may be interested in John Gruden. But the other side of your question is, I don't think Virginia Tech is as attractive as a job as it has been. That's another entire problem. It is very public that Virginia Tech has not supported football the way that it needs to. It's in a conference that's more than likely not going to exist in 10 years. And hasn't won a whole lot recently. So that's another question that needs to be answered. Does Drones still give us the best opportunity to win? I have no idea. I really don't. And I think you have to explore other options and see what it looks like. Because the way that I answered that question last week was this staff needs to win. And I do believe Kairen Drones gives us the best opportunity to win. At this point, I don't know if there's any level of winning this year where the staff is staying Like, just to put it as bluntly as I possibly can. I don't know what the level of winning is. Sure, Virginia Tech can win every. Casey called me this morning. He's like, he said, the worst thing that can happen to you is you win your next 5 games. I agree for long term. If Virginia Tech does rattle off its next 5 wins, you beat Wofford, you beat ODU, you beat NC State, you beat Wake. Somehow Haynes King is hurt, and then you beat Georgia Tech. It's like, whoa. Yeah, that would be a weird scenario that is definitely visible and been possible.
It's crazy because I know, like, in some sick, twisted way, I know that there's a handful of folks, probably way more than a handful. A lot of people are probably going to root for ODU secretly to beat us next week, which is just says a lot about where we are right now.
I'm so glad Madison brought this because I didn't bring it up. Why can't our secondary learn to turn their heads and get more interceptions? Our secondary has been awful, just awful. And also, I don't think the players are awful. I think their technique is awful.
We have some great talent
like
on the side.
That unit has just not been developed. And again, I hate getting personal on here, man, but like the jokes kind of write themselves sometimes when you're so visible on social media and you're so visible and have such a big personality. It opens yourself up. It happens to me, man. I am very visible on social media. When I do something stupid, I open myself up to a whole lot of something stupid, like saying we're going to kick Vanderbilt's ass. And I woke up this morning to 187 notifications from Vanderbilt fans this morning. Totally fair. Deserved it. Deserved to get dragged. You totally deserve it. So the secondary has been awful, just terrible. If I was actually giving rewards out for worst unit so far for yesterday, certainly I think the defensive back room was pretty awful. Half-Blood Prince. I love this question because this question came up against West Virginia in 2022, and I answered it. I got a lot of crap for it. At what point...
Dude, you should spill.
I'll share that story one day. At what point, I will share that story one day. At what point is Metallica going to come and say, if you can't stop losing, you can't keep playing Enter Sandman? I got a really good suggestion from our guy, Mr. O'Neill. Mr. O'Neill said, what if we kept playing Enter Sandman, but because the fans deserve it. The fans deserve Enter Sandman. If you stop playing Enter Sandman, you're punishing the fans. And that's not right. Fans don't deserve to be punished. But the program kind of deserves to be punished. So what if you played Enter Sandman and then just it ended and then you had the team run out like 3 minutes later? Like you played Enter Sandman, it ends, the song is over, and then the team takes the field like 3 minutes later. That could be a hit. That might be a hit. But I said this after West Virginia. I haven't said it since. I'll say it again. It's getting embarrassing. It really is. The fact that is what we hang our hat on. Like, I am kind of in the camp of I wish we would stop doing it. That's probably a hot take, but I think that it makes more jokes than it brings joy. And I'll tell you this too. It gets the other team fired up, man. It really does. Like if you watch, remember when we played Purdue and the rain game happened and they played Enter Sandman? That did more for Purdue than it did for our football team playing Enter Sandman on that night. So,
Patrick Lawrence, he says, what major pass decision or lack thereof led to the state of our program being so poor today? I think I can answer this in 2 ways. Billy, I'm sure you have some things here. One, I would say go listen to the John Yetzi podcast from January of 2020 and listen to it from cover to cover, and you will know that resources were never kept up with at Virginia Tech anywhere within the football program.
Yep.
You will know that. So that is a lack thereof decision. You know, John Boleyn was hiding Huddle or wasn't allowing us to have a Huddle account because it was too expensive. Something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is I would say it's too little too late for Whit to go to the B.O.V with this presentation. Why is that happening in 2025? That should have happened years and years and years ago. So that's my lack thereof. Nothing ever was done to push Virginia Tech forward since leadership came on campus in 2013 and 2014?
Completely agree with both of your points. A couple that I have, a couple decisions and a couple of feelings. Number one, it's been okay to beat UVA for too long. It's been okay to just beat Virginia every single year. That has been the standard. We act like the standard is different. That has been the standard. And directly correlating with that is, and I'm certainly not blaming fans for doing this. Please do not think that I'm blaming you for showing up. There's never been a bottom line repercussion to Virginia Tech not being a good football team. The stands are always packed. The team travels well. People show up and they cheer. People show up and they jump. Show up and jump. That might be a t-shirt when we start winning again. That, I think, it's not a decision that was made in the athletic department. It's a decision that our fan base was going to, that made, and our fan base said, we are going to be an elite fan base. And our athletic department did not follow up by saying, we are going to put an elite product on the field. And I would say that that is a decision on the fans' part and a non-decision by the athletic department. That's one. And then if you really wanted to do a deep dive, you could say the decision not to capture fundraising when the team was good. There are so many people who could have been asked to be more involved, been asked to donate to help the program get great, and we did not capture on that. Programs like Clemson did an amazing job capitalizing on that. Programs like, I'm certainly not I'm not comparing us to Ohio State or Florida State, but they do an amazing job of engaging their donor base. So now when Virginia Tech cries poor and is poor, and they are like, hey, we really need you to donate, you don't ask for people to donate after your program has fallen off the table. You ask people to donate when you're rolling. Like, that's when you need to be doing it. And that actually supersedes Whit. That's pre-Whit. That's not really his fault. I would say those are probably them. This one I've peddled is the wrong word because it sounds like it's not true. I believe this to be 100% true. Galen Scott's decision to hook up with that chick is a big reason why we have an issue, because I truly believe he would have been an incredible defensive coordinator and the perfect bridge from Bud Foster for Coach Fuente in that era. Losing Galen Scott, I think, was one of the most. Losing Galen Scott and losing Holman Wiggins are two of the biggest things that happened, and the lack of replacing them with a equal replacement was a huge problem in the Fuente era. So I think we did a good job answering that question. I think that hits a lot of the notes. Last one. The first time, and I'll be very honest, when Coach Fuente lost his job, I was bitter about the entire situation. I've learned a lot since that, but I'd be lying to you if I didn't say that I was bitter. But the one thing that really kind of perked my ears up, and I mentioned this when it happened, was when Coach Pry got here, I was shocked at the lack of roster turnover that we saw in the first year. That was the one thing where I was like, wait, so this team was awful last year, and we have a new coach, which means you have an opportunity to bring in a whole bunch of new talent. And we said, hey, guys, we have a new coach, and here's who we're bringing in. It's this guy, Grant Wells, but nobody else.
5 players. 5
players we brought in. When Marcus Freeman, if you go down the list of all of the coaches who took over programs, they're bringing in. Rich Rod just brought in like 70 kids at West Virginia. If you look back, I think Marcus Freeman was the only guy who didn't bring in a bunch of players. And the reason he didn't was because he was the defensive coordinator of Notre Dame when he took the job. So he didn't need to bring players in. So when your program is that bad and you don't bring people in, you're like, you just threw a year away. So
it was Grant Wells, Jason Brown.
That's right, dude.
Darius Payne, who got hurt early. Jaden Blue.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember who the 5th one was, but it was 5 guys who were not. I mean, Darius Payne was awesome later in his career, but I remember that was a big point of contention on the pod in 2022, 2023.
And people thought that we were
get
saying
5
it.
guys in the portal year one. Like, what was that?
It is funny, Pat, because I promise I'm not taking a victory lap because I'm not like fired up. This is where we are. But when we brought that up, or we were critical about basically anything the first couple of years, it was like, dude, these guys, the Foo Fighters, they're upset Coach Fuente isn't here. You were not, Pat. You didn't fall into that category. I certainly did. But anytime we had any gripe the first 18 months of the tenure, it was these guys, man. They just don't get it. They don't get it. No, actually, the program doesn't get it. And here we are. Here we are. Wicked Afterlife. Or no, Keith said that will the B.O.Vs.
Let's run through these. Yeah, we've been on for an hour and a half.
Will the B.O.V/donors pony up the money to make this program relevant? Until that happens, will we be stuck in mediocrity? We would just be a punching bag we have become. We are a punching bag until something significantly changes. That will continue to be the case. I will stand on my opinion that the whole answer of, well, we're in a weird spot, with the AD and the coach. No, that's not a good enough answer. It's just not. If football matters, if it doesn't matter, then sure, I guess that's a fine answer. I guess.
Yeah. I have a really hard time believing in the B.O.V. and getting something done because we are where we are right now because of leadership in the B.O.V. I need Glenn Youngkin to call up and make some decisions. Okay. We need, this gets political, doesn't it? I mean, the university president is a government appointed position. Like there's a lot that goes behind the scenes versus just, do we have the money? Can we pay for the buyout if, it involves personnel higher than the football coach?
Wicked Afterlife. How many fans are done with the program after the season? I do believe these 2 back-to-back opening losses have now pushed me to end it after 20 plus years. Damn. Cost of tickets, concessions, and more with no winning programs is not worth it. I agree, man. I mean, that's where I'm at. Like, that is where I am. And what's so frustrating, again, to tie it back to like the donor side of things, it's not like this program hasn't, like, it's not like they're working against everybody. Like the B.O.V. thing is true, like from a very big picture and why we haven't been successful. But at the same standpoint, like the job that Triumph did in bringing players back, and when I say Triumph, I mean all of the people that were donating. Like we brought back everybody that we said we wanted to bring back, pretty much. And we brought in some really talented guys, and it hasn't worked. That's also happened for 3 years that we've done pretty well. This is not a situation where like, man, Virginia Tech just doesn't have any talent. No, there's talent on the roster. We're just not winning games. Pat, closing thoughts. I know you have dinner. So do I.
It's going to be tough covering these next 10 weeks.
I know.
Guys, ride with us. We will try to keep it light. We will try to keep it fun. We will try to keep it fact-based. I know I raised my voice a little bit today. I'm upset,
I'm upset. Yeah.
Something that I love, getting set on fire.
Yeah. As always, like, subscribe. Have an awesome rest of the weekend. We're not going to get to the rest of the haikus. I'm going to throw them into the description. So go ahead and check those out. And I can't wait to listen to Pete's voicemail. I'm sure that's going to be quite entertaining. But we'll see you next week. Love you guys too.
Beat ODU? ?